Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. Time to give a bit of an update to a company called Orcoda. I have done a few videos on this company in the past, and I don't follow Orcoda all that closely. And I was a little bit surprised to see the share price up 400% in 6 months and about 200% since I last did a video on this company. In fact, from the time the share price did reach its low in September, October last year, to the time I did a video, which might have been in November, the share price had already doubled. And the share price since then, since I last did a video, has increased from 9 cents to a current share price of 27 cents. So I thought it would be a good idea to give an update to this company because obviously the market is liking something about this company. So sentiment, positive financial performance has been driving the share price of this company higher over the last 6 months. Orcoda is a transport logistics and service technology provider. They have three divisions, and I only talk about two of them. The one division I won't talk about, which is the healthcare logistics division, you can just go to the website or look at one of the presentations because they do discuss what they do in each of these divisions. And that information, there's a plethora of information out there, and that information is easily accessible to everyone. Now, their logistics division utilizes their technology platform to manage a passenger logistics on assets such as buses, planes, and light vehicles. Now, their transport logistics is a SaaS cloud product providing customers with large transport fleets, optimized job scheduling, route optimization, and enhanced fleet management, resulting in recurring revenue from a license fee per vehicle per month. So I've already mentioned that this company is a transport logistics service provider. So even though one of their divisions is actually called transport logistics, all their divisions are in relation to transport and vehicles, that sort of thing. Now to just a few facts in regards to Orcoda, question mark in regards to when this company was founded, because Orcoda has had an interesting history on the ASX. I've mentioned here, they listed on the 22nd of August 2018. That's not exactly accurate because if we go prior to that date, to when this company first listed, it was as a company called Coolgardie Gold. Obviously, a gold exploring company. And whatever they were exploring, wherever they were exploring, they were not successful. And then they transitioned to another company, sort of maybe a backdoor listing, to Smart Trans. And funny enough, I know Orcoda as Smart Trans. They did have a ticker code SMA. And even though I wasn't following that company all that closely, I still remember there was a period of time back in 2015 or 16 when Smart Trans receipts grew quite quickly. And the market at one point in time was excited about that company, but I can't quite exactly remember what they were doing, not quite what Orcoda is doing right now. And then after a couple of acquisitions, Smart Trans became Orcoda. And one of those big acquisitions was in a company called Beta Group. And I believe that was in 2020. And that might be a business company transformational acquisition because one of the largest shareholders, in fact, the largest shareholder of Orcoda is Jeff Williams. I believe he's Jeff Williams and Stephen Prock. Yeah, Jeff Williams. He owns 98.8% of the company. He was sort of the founder and owner of Beta Group, and then he took a big position in Orcoda through that acquisition. The next biggest shareholder of Orcoda is Stephen Prock with 9.1%. He was on the board of this company. He's no longer on the board. And the current managing director is Jeff Jameson. He also was a CFO of this company for a period of time, jointly. So he was the managing director and the CFO for Orcoda up until they hired a new CFO recently. And he also owns 6.4% of the company. So there is a little bit of skin in the game when it comes to this company. Now on to the market. So the last time I did a video on this company was in November 2022. And the market cap at that point in time was $14 million. That was a share price of 9 cents. Now, the share price, when I did that video, had been on a little bit of a run. In fact, the share price had almost doubled over the previous 1 month. So at one point in time, about October, September 2022, the market cap of this company was less than $10 million. And right now, as I speak, Share price is hovering around 27 cents, which means the market cap of this company is 45 million. So the share price in the last 5 to 6 months has increased from a low of about 5 cents to a current share price of 27 cents. So obviously the market is intrigued by this company right now. And the ticker for Orcoda is ODA. So I understand why the market has, I won't say fallen in love with this company, but why there has been enhanced interest in Orcoda over the past 6 months. Let's have a look at their Appendix 4C for the March quarter. But before we have a look at the most recent March quarter results, let's go back 1 year ago and to see how this company has progressed from March quarter in financial year 22 to the March quarter in financial year 23. And one of the reasons I have done a few videos on this company is because this company, Orcoda, has been operating cash flow positive on a fairly consistent basis. And that alone intrigues me about this company. So 1 year ago, this company had about $4 million of receipts in the March quarter and was operating cash flow positive by about $282,000. You might laugh at that amount. That's a small amount, but it's still operating cash flow positive. And for the first 9 months of financial year 22, they were operating cash flow positive by about $1.6 million. Now, cash on hand in this quarter actually did fall by $600,000 because they did make an acquisition, $500,000 spent on that acquisition, and they also spent $352,000 on property, plant, and equipment. So probably my only concern about this company back 1 year ago was the cash on hand. I probably would prefer cash on hand to be a little bit more than $2.6 million. Now let's have a look to see how this company, Orcoda, has performed over the past years, looking at if there has been any increase in cash receipts and what has happened to the operating cash flow. Now, receipts have grown from 1 year ago up to $5.3 million. That's a growth of $1.4 million. So business is moving in the right direction for this company. And for the first 9 months of the year, receipts up to $16.6 million. So not only has receipts grown, they've grown at a quicker rate than their spending. So staff and administration costs up $800,000. Product manufacturing and operating costs actually down a little bit, and advertising marketing up a little bit. But overall, the spending has not grown as quick as the cash receipts, which means this company was operating cash flow positive by $959,000, a significant increase on 1 year ago. So you might argue 1 year ago that was on a low base. But when this sort of thing happens, management will highlight this in their commentary on the Appendix 4C. And Orcoda has done exactly that. Just have a look at their Appendix 4C in the commentary. Just go to highlights. The second point they mentioned in the highlights section, profitable quarter with positive operating cash flow of $1 million, up 240% compared to the previous corresponding period. So if you just looked at the highlights, you would say, wow, what significant growth in the operating cash flow, up to $1 million. But the company is moving in the right direction. Now, one little red flag and a small red flag, the operating cash flow for the first 9 months of the year, it's positive 1.4 million, but it's actually down from 1 year ago. And you won't see the management, the company mention that in their highlight section of the Appendix 4C. Another interesting thing, they did borrow $450,000. Now, the company is not highly in debt, but this is one thing I am going to look at in future Appendix 4Cs, just to make sure this company doesn't increase their debt too much. But mind you, if you do go to Section 7 of the Appendix 4C, their financing facilities, they do have a financing facility with NAB, which is undrawn. But again, if you go to Section 3, which is cash flows from financing activities, Section 3.5, proceeds from borrowings, $700,000, repayment of borrowings, $257,000. So even though their financing facility with NAB is undrawn, based off Section 3, they have increased their debt by about $443,000. Not sure what that borrowings is, but it's not through their financing facility. Now on to the company's cash receipts. The main thing I want to see with the cash receipts history is growth. I want to see cash receipts growing through time. Now, you don't have to see cash receipts being larger every single quarter, because even though this was a good quarter and it was more cash receipts than the previous corresponding period, it was not a record quarter for the company. That record quarter was the September quarter of last year, the September quarter, the first quarter of the financial year 23. And that's actually the last time I did a video on this company. But if you do a trend line with the cash receipts, you definitely do see pretty good growth over the past we'll say 4.5 years. The best growth in this company was between 2020 and 2021. They made that acquisition of Beta Group in 2020, and I still think that was a company transformational acquisition, because we have really seen this company's cash receipts grow since that acquisition of Beta Group. And I believe the cost of that acquisition of Beta Group was about $5 million. The company did have to make a few sacrifices in regards to acquisition, payment of $5 million or something like that. I could be a little bit mistaken, but that is sort of a vague memory I do have. But the owner and founder of Beta Group is now the largest shareholder of Orcoda. He's also on the board. So those are the slight sacrifices the company did have to make. But overall, for both parties involved in the acquisition, I think it has been beneficial. We have seen Orcoda benefit financially, and more than likely, I think, wasn't his name, Jeff Williams, has benefited financially as well through that acquisition. Anyway, onto the chart for Orcoda. This is the weekly chart going back to when they made that transition from SmartTrans to Orcoda. Well, when was it? August 2018. Now, just by looking at this weekly chart, the one thing that does stand out to me is it seems like over the past 4.5 years, Orcoda has been trading in a fairly large range. The top of the range is in the high 20s, exactly where the share price is right now. But the last time the share price reached these levels was actually back pre-COVID-19 in August, September of 2019. So we are at least a 3.5-year high when it comes to this company, and that could be a good thing. So those shareholders who did buy in at those highs in August 2019 might have already sold out. That's a long time to be holding shares, to be underwater. Now, the bottom in this range is around about 5-6 cents, and that was actually reached back in August, September of last year. But we have seen the other lows in the share price around about 8 cents back in April, May of 2019, also around about 8 or 9 cents between April and September of 2020. So the big thing moving forward for Orcoda, because the share price is at long-term highs, is whether the share price can remain at these levels and there is no profit taking. Wouldn't be surprised to see profit taking, because the share price did increase significantly last week when they did release the Appendix 4C. In fact, the share price went from about 18 cents up to 27 cents. So that's a 50% rise in share price in 1 week. And usually when you do see that sort of share price rise, there's going to be some shareholders taking profits. The other thing I always look at is a volume. Now, you might say not really high volume, but when you compare the volume in the past 6 or 9 months, it's significantly higher than what we saw traded in this company between 2018 and 2022. So that is a good thing moving forward. The other thing to note is there was 2 weeks in August last year where we saw really big volume coming in, and that was right near the share price low. So obviously someone in the market saw some value in Orcoda when the share price got down to about 6 cents, and that's just before the share price went on the run. So congratulations to those shareholders who bought in August last year. That's all I have for this update to Orcoda. Share price up 400% in 6 months from its lows back in August, September of last year. Share price has increased from around about 5 or 6 cents up to a current share price of 27 cents. I'm recording this video. Current time is 3:56 p.m. on the 1st of May. We in Queensland are having a holiday today, although I do have to work tonight. So I haven't had a look at what the share price has done today. The overall, the market is up, but it's a good idea to always have a look at what the share price is doing right now. It could be up 5%, could be down 5%, or it could be absolutely flat. If you have any questions in regards to Orcoda, if you know this company a little bit better than I do, I'd love to hear your insights into this company. So leave your insights, your questions, your thoughts in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I am not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.